Are you guys ready at home? All right, I heard it.
Andre hears things
like
all the
MLG,
time,
bro.
man. Dude, he's like, Andre like always turns to me and he's like, yo, Frodan, did you hear that? And I'm like, what? It's like, that's the sound of a nerd crying because he just won a ladder match. Today, Andre says, I'm going to win a PvP with no warp gates. And all he makes are immortals and void rays and sentries. And sentries.
I got motherships in there.
And a mothership.
And one game I got a carrier.
So
a carrier.
That's all he did. And he's been winning PvP. He has a replays to prove it, so.
I do have replays to prove it.
Pioneering new PvP style, so.
No warp gate style.
Anyways, Andre hears things that don't necessarily happen. We get it. But let's go ahead and hop into this game, guys. In the bottom right corner, we have none other than the yellow Zerg. His name is LoweLy. He's from
Fixo.
And
in the top left-hand position, we have SeleCT as the orange Terran. Now, SeleCT has been around in the community for so long. He has been a pretty strong Terran, but I think he hasn't gotten any first places. Is that correct? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm putting both of us on the spot.
Wow.
I don't think he got any like big first places.
No, I mean SeleCT has been always just one of those players threatening. I remember he made a huge MLG run.
Yes.
A huge MLG run.
He lost really early.
Yes.
And then.
Or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Holy crap,
ago.
man.
Time flies, dude. 2 years ago, man, that was such a long time. But SeleCT, he hasn't been exactly on a hot streak against Zerg. In fact, he was knocked out of the ONOG Invitational by TLO, and his overall win percentage is still 58%, still pretty good. LoweLy at the same time, he's actually never played SeleCT. In fact, both players haven't met, so LoweLy still has good ZVT. He's actually beaten Cloud and Straylock, so some pretty good Terrans.
And I think SeleCT has the endurance, so that's not going to be a big problem for him in this game. I mean,
grind.
Oh, God, SeleCT. You just lost an SCV.
Wow, he can. I mean, yeah, you're talking about endurance. I mean, SeleCT can grind like a 17-year-old girl at first time at the club, man. He can grind, and he is bumping and shaking. You see his hands flying. He's actually a good singer. You ever hear SeleCT sing?
Thank you, Frodan. You just replaced me for the rest of the season.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. Okay.
I mean, you're so
I used to be that guy. Okay. And right now I'm. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that. I love you so much right now.
SeleCT is going for Barracks Gas. I mean, he loves Hellion openings in TVZ.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Hellion opens are probably the most standard openings you can do in Terran versus Zerg. You get that fast reactor. You're able to swap it with the barracks and the factory, and it develops. It situates you map control, and not only that, it tells you what your opponent is doing. It really limits the amount of things LoweLy can do, because a lot of times Zergs want to get to that 6 gas. 6 gas is probably the most important thing to get in that mid-game, end-game stage. So if they can get to 6 gas really fast, they're looking great. But Hellions stop that. You can't rely on Zerglings and Banelings to get you your 6 gas or your third base. You have to go to Roaches or Mutalisks or really, really fast Zergling upgrades. Something to be able to deal with mass Hellions.
Yeah, and a lot of it actually has to do with SimCity too. And we were talking about that earlier. And on a previous TVZ discussion, just being able to deal with, especially SeleCT, because you can tell he's one of those players that never lets go of his attention from Hellions too long. So he's going to be very active with it, very harassment oriented, and we'll see how LoweLy chooses to respond in terms of that. He does have his Roach run about to finish. Now it is Antiga Shipyards, and again, maybe someone hasn't seen too much of TVZ on this map just yet. How did we change the map, especially towards the center here?
Well, the center has reduced mineral patches. I think this is a really great change because a lot of times in Terran vs. Zerg, if Terran took that center control, they also take either gold expansion or full expansion. And that really, like, gives the Terran, like, a snowballing effect. They're able to do everything and anything they want to do because they get an expansion and they get beautiful position. They put down a planetary fortress. All right, I won the game. That's how they feel. But now, with the limited amount of minerals, it's like, do I want center control or do I want something like more money, more expansions, etc.?
And speaking of center control, we do see the SeleCT encounters a few roaches, only 5, and you know, LoweLy's actually been splitting his larva for a couple roaches, couple drones here. Is he going to sacrifice a lot of his economy doing this?
Interested. I don't know why he's going so many roaches. Normally you push out with.
I'm really confused.
Maybe it's not. I think he's going up to 7. Let me check right now. Yeah, it is only 7 roaches.
Okay.
This is the standard 7 roach. I thought 7 were already out and he's getting 2 more, but this is a 7 roach push, and normally it just keeps you pretty safe. Yeah. Allows you to just thwart these Hellions from doing their job, and at the same time, you can see exactly what your opponent is doing.
I mean, he sees Marine Hellion, so he says a lot of gas to save but something, sees the medevac as well, so LoweLy's interpreting a lot from these roaches. Of course, he did have to sacrifice a lot, and you know, he's just retreating, can't really save too much of them, but at the same time, SeleCT does back off. So we do see a layer transition as well from LoweLy as well as a second gas, so LoweLy eventually going to stay on 2 base for just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think LoweLy should be able to defend this relatively easy. This play really relies on catching your opponent out of position, but now that LoweLy has had the whole map to actually react to this style, he should be able to clear up this drop pretty easily. I'm surprised we don't have more queens out. LoweLy, why don't you have more queens out?
Yeah, especially against Hellions, you see sometimes 3, 4 queens, so
yeah.
he doesn't, I mean, he does push back the medevac just for now.
Well, what you want to do is get the 3 queens at least. So you can have 2 queens allocating to just taking out that medevac, and it really puts strain on that whole push, that aggression, because if my medevac dies, my aggression is gone. I don't have anything anymore. So normally you will see Zergs getting 3 queens to deal with any drop play. We don't see that here.
Oh, we do see SeleCT still trying to pressure here, and of course he's doing this while transitioning to siege tanks. He's also getting Banshees, very interesting. But during this whole time, again, SeleCT's trying to keep attention away from his base and trying to keep LoweLy accountable in terms of larva count. He's still making Zerglings very slowly, but in the middle, he's getting caught while transitioning tech. He's getting an infestation pit, getting speed, and trying to get upgrades. So, you know, very interesting. Again, you used the right word, interesting, man.
Yeah, still, okay, gas is just taken. Now SeleCT, he's been pretty delayed with this whole command center, but this Banshee, let me tell you, this is probably the most instrumental key in SeleCT's build. The Banshee really thwarts a lot of the strengths of the Infestor. Infestors are great at cleaning up, you know, these mass units, Marines, Marauders. Well, maybe not so much Marauders, but the Hellions for sure.
Oh, he's going to try to even go for a flank, and he does get it. SeleCT all out of position here and is forced to pick up, but he did lose several units, and the aggression at least held off for a little bit more, but you can bet SeleCT will be back.
But keep in mind, what was the purpose of that? Normally we have Hellions taking control, stopping the opponent from getting a third, stopping them from creep spreading. That push did exactly that. He's looking really good, and look at this. Now an Overlord's going to be picked off, and potentially this third. LoweLy needs to pull back.
The Banshee going to work here with a couple of Marines. Now, Marines don't have stim. It's still about halfway done, so he can't actually do anything. But again, he's just going to have a pretty good position, picks off, and now his Banshee can go to work on the rest of the units.
Yeah, he should really focus on that drone. Unfortunately, that drone was able to get another hatchery, so still good for LoweLy. He gets his queens over there. Does he have queens in his other bases? Are those his only 2 queens? I'm going to shoot my brains out if there are. Yes. Goodbye, brains. that shouldn't happen. I don't know why he's sending 2 queens over like this.
It's a little bit of miscontrol there, and yeah, I mean, at this point, LoweLy, again, he's just been kind of caught. Every time he's been trying to do something, SeleCT's been interrupting him. He's just been very disruptive this game. 2 Banshees at the third, trying to see if he can cancel that third, but at the same time cutting back. A good transfuse to push it back. The Banshee getting very close to dying. At the same time, Hellions also dropped in the main.
Great job by LoweLy. Oh my god, amazing play. Takes out the Banshee and also removes the medevac from the field. I have to say, one thing I've loved about LoweLy's play is his positioning and his ability to receive drops and harass. He has been pretty good at that. I mean, he canceled his hatchery. He was doing a really good job overall. But I have to say, the Spore Crawler, the Spine Crawler right here, that is amazing foresight, and he was able to stop that drop very efficiently.
Yeah, and during this whole time, SeleCT hasn't actually been making a lot of SUVs. He was in the low 30s and now has actually recently restarted SUV production. So he's actually not as in good SUV shape because he has 3 orbitals and he wants to actually get that third base, but he won't have that good saturation. And yeah, he has mules, but he wants way more than that. But look at this. Infestors burrowing up here. They can't actually get in, can they?
No, they can't. But if he
lowers
one, and does he see the shadow? Does he see the shadow? Do you guys see the shadow? You might be able to see it in 1080p with
I'm on
an
his
NASL
screen right
TV
now. He doesn't see it at all. Nice one. I'm actually on his screen now. He doesn't see it at all. In fact, these Infestors are going to get in here uncontested. There's no turret in the main either.
Shaggy.
Uh-oh.
Row Shaggy.
He's
and this is going to poop out a
Terrans.
ton of Infested Terrans, man. This is going to do pretty serious damage.
I'll keep my eye on that, though.
Yeah.
While
Can you guys keep it in? I mean, We can see it in HD, but I don't know if the people at home can.
Well, the Banshee is pushing back the roaches, and LoweLy's still keeping those infestors there. Now, keep in mind, those were his first infestors, so they do have max energy almost, as the Banshee's still going to work on some of those units.
I'm just waiting for the big poop.
Yeah, I'm
waiting for the big
poop.
poop. I think he's waiting for
really
all the
more
units.
Of a vomit, man.
I always say poop. But I think what he's waiting for is his opponent to move out, go into the center of the map, and then all of a sudden just catch his opponent out of position. But I don't know. We'll see.
Don't worry, Andre. I've got my eye on these infestors. They're not leaving my sight anywhere I go. But
so you give me the cue. That way I can go around the map. Hive Tech is on the way. Infestation Pit is down. No Neural Parasite just yet. We do have a Viking that's clearing out a lot of Overlords. And it looks like the composition of choice so far is Zergling Roach Infestors.
Oh, here we go. Oh! Finally, back at the main here from SeleCT. He sees a swarm of Infestarians, but of course, the tank in perfect position to also add some splash damage. And as a result, it looks like LoweLy's Infestarians are not going to target any SCVs.
The command center.
Let's get into go for the command center. It's getting very low. Well, meanwhile, LoweLy's actually invading the third and run buying with Zerglings and Infestors, taking a lot of damage on his initial Infestors, but a Burrow does save a lot of them. SeleCT going to lose a lot of workers here.
SeleCT getting destroyed here. The third is under serious fire. He needs to lift off immediately at command center. Oh my god, that was a little scary. But
very scary, yeah.
He does lose that main command center, so SeleCT, I don't even know if he has a timing at this point. I think he's just pretty far behind.
Yeah, we do see that SeleCT. I mean, he doesn't have that many SCVs. He's got 43 at 60 minutes in the game, and he would want to have way more, especially to establish that third base as well, just because he hasn't been able to establish a dominating defensive position. Normally, Terrans, Zergs would be afraid to run into that position because they would take too much tank fire, but LoweLy's been keeping on his toes. He's even got another batch of Zerglings ready to run in.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the opportunity. There it is. The Zerglings are going to run into the main. I would actually let those Zerglings in because all the units are inside, not outside. You can see the Zerglings are just running around trying to do as much damage as possible. But oh my god, look at that. He's going to burrow again. What an annoying... Oh, he didn't get it.
Ooh, but the infested Terrans from the Infestors again, trying to draw some of the attention away from the Zerglings, but there's nothing. But yeah, LoweLy again keeping his opponents on his toes. He's expanding to a fourth base in the bottom center. I guess he doesn't really want the center expansion, didn't offer enough resources.
Not only that, the second gas is pretty big. It looks like some Infestarians were pooped out in the top left-hand corner at that natural. The SCVs were evacuated immediately, so the Infestor wasn't able to get nearly enough kills. 3 kills only on that single Infestor. Zerglings again push forward. And it looks like, they're going for the command center.
Command center's getting really low. SCV's trying to repair, but again, not enough. And again, another burrow from LoweLy. SeleCT not able to be comfortable whatsoever. In fact, forcing a stim on those Marines when the medevac has pretty much no energy. So again, very, very good job. Because SeleCT, he's the kind of player that normally he's the one constantly harassing Zerg and pushing him and trying to take out their drones and whatnot, but he's been the one whittled down to just 28 SCVs.
It all came down to that huge momentum shift. When SeleCT loses the momentum with the medevac and the 2 Banshees out in the field, once they get crushed, he doesn't have anything. He has no follow-up because he needs to use all of his units for defense in case something happens. Of course, something did happen. Those Infestors were so good. Now they're going to get cleaned up finally, at least one of them, but SeleCT has been on the back foot the whole time because he has not been able to set the tempo, and that's where he's strongest. He needs to set the tempo in order for him to be successful.
And you remember how you were saying that LoweLy was teching to high? Well, the Broodlords are out onto the field, and he's got 5 of them with good protection with his Corruptors as well. So
where are the Infestors, though? Are there
He's
Infestors?
building them right now. 2 of them are still tucked away at the third, but he doesn't have that many fungals. He's going to try to rely on his Zerglings to try to buffer and give the Broodlords a lot of space.
Oh, no.
Marines are cutting back there, but again, taking a lot of damage from just stims. There's not a lot of energy in those medevacs. As we do see LoweLy, he's getting flanked from 2 positions. He's going to lose these Broodlords.
You do not do this. You do not push in Broodlords without Infestors. That's really dangerous. You need to have an insurmountable win at that point. LoweLy did not have that. SeleCT was able to pull slightly ahead in that engagement, but still, I do fear for him because I feel like SeleCT has been on the back foot the whole game ever since, of course, the harass got cleaned up.
He does have 4 tanks, and he's starting to clean up the middle. Leaving his tanks actually alone for just a second, that could have been very dangerous. But SeleCT actually packing up and retaking the watchtower, which I actually like. But the best Terrans going to work again.
Yeah, great job, man. I love this type of play, just being so annoying. Normally the Terran is doing this to the Zerg, but LoweLy is just switching up, being annoying with these the infestors. And now having to pull back completely, losing a ton of really valuable positions. I'm sure LoweLy is really happy to see this.
Well, the thing, though, is that LoweLy has been he's tech switching actually right now to Ultralisks and getting some Brood Lords. Actually, he's making Broods in the top center of the map. Very interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like Guardians almost.
Yeah, as if he's going to siege right outside the base.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
Punishing Select for not having any Vikings if he doesn't have any Vikings. Let's check. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Oh,
now,
wow.
Upgrades are really important at this point. 2-2 against 3-2. But check out these Ultras. 3-4. Now, they have a natural base armor of 1, so they have a total of 5 armor. That means Marines do a total of 3 damage.
And looks like the Ultras are going to catch the tanks before they are sieged. Oh! The Fungals are going to land on all of the Marines, and Select losing almost all of his army, now already whittled down to just under 60 supply. And that was very costly. GG!
Well played by LoweLy. A big upset, I think, in a lot of people's mind. And LoweLy, just stunning performance, I have to say. Ever since the Infestors, it just felt like the Infestors got into the base. I felt like there was just a huge momentum shift, as I was saying time and time again. But then LoweLy was able to dictate everything. That's something that's so hard to do against a player like Select.
Yeah, and Select just kept giving him more ground and more ground. And overall, he was able to just do whatever he wanted, take over the map.
Exactly.
I mean, even if that didn't happen, he was able to siege what remainder of the SCV. Select was always kept in the 20 to 40 range of SCVs, never really able to establish true 3-base economy. So, of course, LoweLy doing a fantastic job in game number 1.
Yeah, so that being that, we are 1-0 up for LoweLy, ladies and gentlemen.
We hit 10,000, woohoo!
Boom.
So you know what that means, guys? We are going to do a music video.
Okay, so
and that means also we beat Bitterdom last night.
This is how it's going to work, right? We're going to use Twitter and Facebook.
I'm making a note
and
of it
you
right
guys
now.
are going to give us the song, okay?
Okay.
After that, we're going to have a list of maybe 5-6 songs, and we'll put them on Facebook. You guys vote for whatever song it is, and we'll do a music video for you guys for sure. So
yes.
It's definitely going down. Check us out, twitter.com/NASLTV, facebook.com/NASLTV, Frodan, Rotterdam08, Gretorp, and
Mr. Bitter
TV.
Mr. Bitter TV.
Tweet at all of us.
And
also, NASL Chance. Can't forget about him.
And
can we get a shot of Chance?
He's actually taking a nap right now, so shh. Don't disrupt him too much. Oh, you already woke him up. And he's leaving. Look at him. He's embarrassed. Darren's trying to keep up with him, but Chance, wow.
No, he can't.
Dude, he just totally juked him like a hellion, man.
Anyway, tweet at us, and of course, check out our HD pass, the 1080p.
Yes. Is it $19.99 now?
It's $19.99 now. It's still great value, I think.
That was a great year, too. $19.99.
That's when you were born, right?
No, anyway, I was born 1990.
That was, Kingston Match. Thank you to them, Kingston HyperX. They're a wonderful company that has tons of solid.
They support a lot of esports, honestly. They're just so involved in a lot of organizations, so we appreciate a lot of them. Guys, we'll be back with game number 2 between LoweLy and Select. Can Select top the series, or will LoweLy pull up the upside? We'll find out after a quick commercial break.